don't go left, we don't go right, we go deeper. And we expect that the world is not going to like us. At the moment there is a sort of martyr-victim complex in the church around we're fearful of not having freedom of religion, we're persecuted, we're feeling a minority. I say, get over it. Jesus said the world's going to hate us, and we're just going to go out and keep loving and serving. And this sort of defensive posture, I think, is the mark of fear. We're fearful at the moment of gays. I was talking to a friend whose 14-year-old is a Christian at a state school, and his friends came up to him and said, "You're a Christian, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, you hate gays then, don't you?" And he went home and he said to his dad, "Do we hate gays, Dad?" Well, we know where that's come from. And again, it's this, we're known for what we're against, not what we're for. And it comes from fear. We're afraid of gays. We're afraid of... Jesus wasn't afraid. He said, God has sent me, and I'm going to absorb evil, even being nailed to a cross, and absorb the racism of the Romans against the Jew, the militarism of the Romans against the person who said, love your enemies, turn the other cheek. I'm going to absorb the evil, and God raised him from the dead. Therefore, what have we got to be afraid of? So, when it comes to government, it's really the same thing. It's respect that every politician has gone in, intending to do good. And Kate Brennan is here, or Kate Harris Brennan is here. And she was New South Wales Young Person of the Year for her work with Oak Tree. And that's where I first met Kate. And we were just discussing how the beautiful thing about Oak Tree and Voices for Justice is when young people particularly go into politicians' offices and they're speaking for those being trafficked into slavery, or the low aid levels now, record low, the lowest ever in our history, which costs tens of thousands of lives. We can get the church talking about abortion, and that's important. Well, how do we get the church saying this has cost lives? When young people sit in front of politicians and speak from the heart, particularly Christian young people, from their faith, what goes on in a politician's mind is, I once was like them. I went into politics to make a difference. What's happened to me? I've become afraid of pre-selection, of towing a party line to get a ministerial post. Fear has started to dominate my life. So when you're working with politicians, it's remembering that they actually do have aspirations and dreams, often suppressed by fear, by a whole party structure and responsibilities and complexities. There are complexities. Building relationship. At the end of the day, what the gospel really comes down to, what development work really comes down to. You can have libraries of books about what good development is. It really comes down to relationship. That I see you, I know your name, I will hear your story. You know, Matt's lovely 4 men. I like the fact Matt said, I didn't hear that man's story. Well, God knows his story. And the most significant thing we do is say, I want to hear your story. I want to look into your eyes, because you are made in the image of God. Same with politicians. Hear the story of why it's complex, and why it's difficult, and why doing the right thing is hard, and build relationship. Relationship that isn't going to spill their secrets on the front page of the press. That's going to honour them. Out of relationship, you can say hard things. We know this in Indigenous work, by the way. We know that the revolving door of so many NGOs, even businesses going in to help and to consult and to listen, and yet they know those people are going to leave. So what's the point of investing and really telling a story? It's why Indigenous, when they hear a Land Rover coming down the drive, they decide to go hunting or fishing. It's going to be another group wanting to consult, but they're going to just go. They're not going to stay. It's where the missionaries, often maligned, did it right. They stayed, they loved, they served, they learnt Indigenous languages. And when you have relationship, you can say to a person, your drinking's out of control. You can't be beating your wife. Relationship is profoundly the gospel message because God wants a relationship with us. We are made in the image of a God who's a community God made for a relationship. This is the fundamental truth about who we are. Exactly the same with politicians. Then they'll hear me say critical things in the press, but they know that I keep their secrets, I build relationship, I aren't going to be compromised, I'm still going to say out of my faith what I say, but there's still respect and dignity and relationship. So in terms of the marathon, that's how I've approached it.
Isn't that incredible?